Okay, well, hello everyone. I'm Tracy, and I'm from Brandco, and I'm here to talk to you about the Piggyback blog today. And we do these weekly webinars every week, and we try to touch on something different than everyone's asking questions about over the week. In the last webinar, I gave a poll, and the poll asked what we wanted to cover this upcoming week, and it was a resounding yes that we wanted to cover how to do content formatting. So that's what we're going to go over today. I appreciate everybody showing up and showing up on time. We do begin these webinars every week at 2 p.m. Eastern Time unless I am out of the office. Let's go ahead and get started. I've made a couple of selections as far as like going through a lot of the piggyback blogs that we service and to try to find some common themes that there are whenever I look at the content that our users have been putting in and how to clean those up and make them look a little bit better and easier to read for your audience. One of the most common issues that I see when it comes to creating blog posts is that people will write out their blog posts straight on. They just keep going on and on and on, and I couldn't find an example of it because everybody is been doing really, really well lately, and I don't have a direct example of it at this very moment. So I made one with lorem ipsum so you could see how one of these blog posts look. And I call this the run-on blog post. So as you can see, it's just a big block of text. Now, we don't want a big block of text because your eyes require that white space in order to break up where your eyes fall. So whenever you have a large block of text like this, it looks overwhelming to your eye and nobody goes, oh my gosh, I really want to read that because it looks so long and daunting to read. Nobody says that. So what we would want to do is break this up into pieces so that people could read it a little bit easier. So if we go ahead and we edit this actual post, there's a lot of options inside of our blog that allow us to be able to manipulate the content. So let me change my user over real quick so that I am just like you rather than as a super admin, which means, I have control of all the websites. So let's go back into the post that I created, which was the run-on blog post. All right, so we're going to go back in here and edit this. Okie doke. So this is a long, ongoing amount of content. We want to break it up. So there are a lot of things inside of your toolbar that can help us out. Now, if you only see one row of toolbar options inside of your content edit area, you're going to need to click this little guy right here called the toolbar toggle. And what this does is it'll drop down what we like to call the kitchen sink. And that makes a whole bunch more options available for you. So the big ones are going to be like our font manipulating buttons, kind of like whenever you write up a paper or letter or anything like that inside of Microsoft Word, you do have these buttons as well. So you can change it, the font color or underline or bold or italicize or center or left align or right align, things like that. All of that's in here. So, it helps to use it rather than just utilizing, your writing skills. So let's pretend that this is actual content that's written here rather than actual just gibberish that us web developers use. So if we're going to break things up, we need to have spacing. So I think that would be the first thing that I would recommend is that always utilize your paragraphs. Like when a section that your brain would relate together ends, start a new paragraph. Whenever I was in college, a lot of paragraphs meant you had to have a lead in and then like two sentences and then a lead out. Or if you were going to write a paper, you had to have a thesis statement in the beginning and stuff like that. Don't worry about all that. write the way that you read. Okay? So if it makes sense for that paragraph to end and then you kind of have a lead in for the next paragraph in between, do it. So just breaking up the content into paragraphs makes a huge difference. So if we wanted to go ahead and look at this post now, already it looks a little bit less daunting for us to read as, the audience of this blog post. Next is the addition of things such as headers. Headers are really important. You have an automatic header, which is your title for your actual blog post or your blog page. Um, your title is automatically something we call an H1, which is your header one, which is the most important thing on that entire page. So below that, though, you have multiple other headers. If you click on this button here that says paragraph, you can see all these other options that you have. And obviously, header 1 being the largest, that means it's the most important. Now, because our title is a header 1, we probably won't use it anywhere else in the content. So H2 to H6 is where I would stay as far as like making something look more important than the regular text, which is what we call paragraph. So if I wanted to say that this section here was a great lead-in, we just separate things a little bit. So let's go make that a header 3. And then I thought that like this sentence here made sense to have all on its own line. We can make it header 2. So you highlight it and you select what kind of heading you want it to be. Let's say I want this one to be in the middle, center aligned, so it like does something a little bit different. So if we preview these changes, the issue here is that let me change my layout real quick. I apologize for that. It looks like headers are in a different color on this layout, and we will work on that for Miss Jules. And I'm going to change my layout. Now, normally you wouldn't do this. I mean, your layout is what your website looks like. So if you have an issue with your headers, please let us know. This is something that we should be fixing for you. So let me go in here back to this post and go view it again. Okay, so you can see that this is a larger statement, and this is larger than the other one was. It looks like headers don't actually want to be center aligned or left or right aligned. They will always sit to the left. So even if you put a center alignment on there, it's going to correct it and make it left aligned. And that's usually because all things like to be in line whenever it comes to the title and everything within it. So you can see that this is already starting to get a little broken up and a little bit easier to read. A very important piece of this, of any blog post, is to have like a photo in it. Photos help, assist your content that you have in place. So having at least one photo in your content is something that your little SEO Yoast plugin is going to ask for. And it's a pretty easy thing to give it. So if you wanted to add in a piece of, imagery, let's just say we're going to do it at the beginning. So let's do add media and pop in this photo. We're going to do left alignment. And we're going to say this a medium-sized image, which will make it 300 pixels by 161 pixels. We have other options that we could do, but I'm a big fan of medium left aligned. Okay, so let me put that in there. And when I do left aligned or right aligned for an image, it will text wrap the text. If it's a left aligned image, it's going to wrap the text around the right-hand side. If it's a right aligned image, it's going to wrap the text around the left-hand side. So it makes it a really nicely framed image. Now, whenever I'm looking at it inside the editor, it looks way too close. Like, I would be very uncomfortable with my site looking like this, like my text being like right up against my images. It bothers me, and I feel like I need a little bit of room to breathe. However, if we looked at it how it looks live on our website, it's accounted for. That that photo has its room to breathe. So sometimes you're going to have to just um, hope that it looks right, and then go and look at it after you've posted it, and you can edit a page as many times as you need. So on top of that, images have links, and a lot of times text wants to have links as well. So if we wanted to add a text link into our content, we can easily do that just how we did earlier, where we highlighted this image, highlighted the text that we wanted to be a header. We would highlight the text that we want to be a link, and then click this little chain link button up here and make it go to a specific. If this is what it would normally look like if you automatically went to it. So you could put in the URL that you want. So if I wanted someone to click on that bunch of text and go directly to brandco.com, I got it. But if I'm sending someone to somewhere other than my own website, I want this to open in another tab. If I put it in another tab, that means that people are still staying in my website, in the actual in my website in that tab. So they're less likely to completely leave my site. I mean, it's still there, kind of haunting them. So that's what I prefer to do. If you make it to where it doesn't open in another tab, they're very likely to click that back button and go back to your website. So that's something to definitely think about. All right, so if we wanted to change the link that's on the photo to where if someone clicked on this photo, they would go to somewhere within my website, I can do that as well. Just by clicking the chain link again, you can see where it's already linking to. This linking to the full-sized image. If I wanted to link inside of what I have content-wise in my website, I can do that where it says, or link to existing content. So if you do that, it shows everything that you've created inside of your website. And you click on any of them and just click update, and then that button or that image that you click will automatically go to that page inside of your website. So if we click it, it's going to take me to this contact page that I've created. If we go back and click on the link that we made, it's going to open in that other tab and take us to the Brandco website. So let's go ahead and update this page and then move on to another one that has been coming up quite often, which is how to create pages such as an About Us page. Now, About Us pages, I love the layout that I've suggested to a lot of people, and I recommend it. And it's a matter of just utilizing all the things that we've already talked about in that last instance. So let's look at the page that I helped assist Heather Murphy's group to create. This is their Meet the Team page, and this is in their Piggyback blog. So if you look at what we have here, it's kind of obvious looking at the things that we've already talked about, what things were used here. So Meet the Team is that title to that page. We have left-aligned images inside of each of these areas, and it makes the text wrap around it as a result. So we have their name and probably an H2 and their title, and then probably an H3, and the rest of it's all paragraph text. And it's accompanied by a bulleted list, which we have the option to do right here. So if we wanted to go in and take a look at it, that's all the stuff that we would see. Pretty easy to put together. So let's just go ahead and throw one together. I like these because it shows imagery for every single agent that is represented on their team, as well as giving them a highlighted, space to be, I guess, spotlighted because their name's there and what they do, as well as their title. And I really prefer doing that. Now, there are a lot of times when people will add in additional pages or additional content that will include like the phone number or the email address, which is great. But you have to be careful when it comes to adding in phone numbers and email addresses on the internet. It's a lot of times it is almost like inviting spam because people control websites and just find that information and just start using it. So let's just go ahead and make an About Us page. I'll probably end up using my own picture over and over, so I apologize for you guys having to see it over and over. All right, so let's go ahead and meet the team. And we're going to add media, so let's upload a photo of a person real quick. And I'm going to use this one. Okay, so that's how you upload a photo. We're going to use this photo, we're going to left align it, and we're going to say that it's going to be medium. Now, you can say that you want this to be a custom size at the time that you go in and re-edit it, but as of right now, this photo will always show at 229 by 300. So if you want every single photo to be the exact same size, the only way you're going to get that without editing it yourself is going to be by doing thumbnail. Thumbnail will always display in 150 by 150, making it a square. I mean, that's how we all think of thumbnails, as like a square option of what that photo is going to look like. Essentially, it's going to be just like it is in your media library. So I don't want it to be square personally, so I'm going to do a medium photo. I'm going to go ahead and insert it into the page. Now you're going to want to make sure that you're on the right hand side of it, and go ahead and start writing your names. And that's my stuff. And if I wanted to go ahead and put in some text, there we go. Now it's a little bit boring if I just left it like that. There's no differentiator between my name or my title or the content that's on the page. I can't tell what's most important other than if I preview the page, obviously the title's going to be important, which is Meet the Team. But I mean, I would want to add more to it. And to do that, I would go, okay, so Tracy Adams is my name. So I want that to be like a heading 2. It's really important that people know who I am. And I want to use a heading 3 for my title because, just as important as who I am is what I do. I'm going to take away a little bit of this text because there wouldn't be that much about me in this page. And once you have one of them done, then what I suggest doing is just copying and pasting because it's a lot easier that way. Now, you're probably wondering, what did you do, Tracy? And what's going on here? Okay, so visual is the display of the code that is being executed inside of the other tab called text. So everything that the code is already doing for us is all shown here. If you go under text, that's where all the code is that's being enacted. So if you wanted to copy something and paste it and keep it the exact same way as it is, copying and pasting inside of text is where you can do it. Now, there's another reason why I'm going to bring that up in a little bit, because there's been a lot of issues lately where clients have been copying and pasting from another location or from a Word document or something like that, and then pasting into their Piggyback blog. Now, that will bring over some residual like code, but we're going to go over that in just a second once we get over the hump here with our Meet the Team page. Now, if I wanted to just add a whole bunch of these, I can do so inside here, or I could do so inside here as well. So if I wanted to just copy, it's a little bit difficult if I wanted to copy and paste inside here because the image doesn't want to copy and paste as nicely. But if I wanted to do that, it looks like these two photos are on top of each other. But our actual team page has a little bit less breathing room than our editing page does. So it's a matter of like reviewing how it's going to display and making a call as to whether or not you need to add enters or things like that, or add more content so there's more spacing in between. It'll really depend on how big your photos are. Okay, so let me go back to the other piece that I was mentioning earlier, which is about copying and pasting content, and doing so in a way to where you can ensure that you're not bringing over formatting from another website or another location. All right, so I have a website here. This is an e-agency page that this gentleman has made, and we're going to end up bringing that content over into our Piggyback blog. So a lot of people will just this number here and copy it and then paste it into a page. Now, most people will do exactly what I'm doing, which is pasting it into the page that they use most often. Nope, I messed up. All right. And this is how it'll come through. My website doesn't use purple on it anywhere. There's no red on it anywhere either. Why did it pull in purple and red? You know, things like that. Like I don't want to mess up the consistency of my website. And that's exactly what the copying and pasting has done. It's pulled over all that stuff from that original site. Now, that's what we call dirty copying and paste. Because if you look in here, you've brought over all kinds of stuff inside your code. And you can see that under the text area. It'll show you all this extra code that's been brought in. And frankly, you don't want all this because this is stuff you don't even need. You want to make sure that it's as clean as possible. So what we recommend is if you're going to copy and paste, do so from the actual code area inside of your e-agency. So if you've made this as an e-agency page, you can click on source and you'll see all the code. Copy that and then paste that into the text area of your page that you're trying to create. If you paste it inside here, you'll notice none of that nasty code comes in that we don't want. And it's nice and clean inside here. And we can go in and add our headers and footers at the way that we want them to show for this actual page. All right, so that's a common issue that we have right here as well, because this is getting confused and thinking that this is one big block of text, but it's not. And a lot of times you can break that up by doing enters in the back area, and that'll break things up so that they're not doing the same thing. That's another reason why that white space is really important when it comes to your content. So if we are adding from, let's say, directly from a place like Microsoft Word, then there's a really awesome tab here. It says Paste as Text. So you can paste anything in here and it'll automatically do the same thing as if we were pasting it into the text area. So it's another workaround. So if we're going to paste this text, let's go ahead and click paste. And then we look at here, it didn't bring in that code and we didn't have to go over into this area in order to be able to add it. So that's a common issue that keeps coming up when you're copying and pasting. Be sure that you're not bringing over a whole bunch of text or formatting that was apparently needed for the location that you're bringing it from, but not needed inside of your website because it has its own special way to be displayed. Okay, well, I think that covered most of the things that I wanted to get to as far as like content formatting. You can do a lot of different things when it comes to these pages and posts, and just breaking things up and adding in headers or links or linking photo. Well, definitely needing photos, but if you link the photo to a different area or things like that, that's going to make your blog post more inviting, as well as making it much more successful because someone's actually going to read it, because it's not going to be overwhelming to the eye. So if anyone has any questions, now would be a great time to go ahead and ask them. I'm going to leave the floor open for questions for the next 5 minutes. If there aren't any questions, we'll go ahead and end the webinar early. Until then, I'm going to go ahead and keep going with a couple of these changes to this site and keep exploring some of the other pages that I was going to say that I would suggest making changes on. So pages like Jennifer Hillman's site here, she does have the page the line breaks in this, but it doesn't have the white space. So your eye still thinks this is one big block, even though she's done a bit of the effort. So if we go ahead and we edit this, actually I can't because I'm not my original user. Let me go change that real quick. And go back over. Well, I lost it. Jennifer Hillman, I believe is who it was. Yeah, if we're gonna edit this right here, we would break it into additional lines. What she has done inside here is just she's copied and pasted. As you can see from the divs here, there's no need for those divs to be there. It's not code that's necessary to be there in order for it to function. So let's just go ahead and clean this up for her. I'm going to go ahead and copy this and bring open the kitchen sink and then do paste as text and delete what's there. So now if we paste, we can look under text and see there's only that one div, I guess, that was left over from earlier. And the last one there, and get rid of it. I guess that was probably there whenever we went to go paste. And then you can see that there's no weird code inside here now. So if we update this for her and then go view the post, you can see that there's actual lines in place the way they're supposed to be. So that's another excellent example of how that dirty copy and paste happens, and it brings over that additional code that can interact with your content and not make it display incorrectly. All right, so I have a question from Denise, who asked, what credit is required when copying from another site? Well, that was something I was trying to get to. Whenever it comes to copying and pasting, we don't recommend it in any way, shape, or form. It is, and it's not a good idea to take someone else's content from their website, because if the content is already on the internet, that means that that person has already gotten credit for that content. If you take it and put it on your website, you're not going to get any kind of credit for it because it's already on the internet and given credit to someone else. So you've just copied and pasted someone's content to put it on your site for no reason, because the whole reason we're doing this blogging thing, other than to, give content to our audience, is to earn search engine optimization. If something is already on the internet, then you're the duplicate. You're not going to get any kind of credit for it. It's not going to index. Your page isn't going to get indexed. It's not going to be offered to people that are searching for that information, because the original is what's going to be offered. So if you ever like look at a blog post and you're like, oh, that's really good. I like what they're saying. Use it as inspiration. Um, Build your own content based on how you talk and how you write, and summarize what that information was. And then if you feel like you didn't quite get every single piece that was important to you covered in your content, link out and say, if you want to read the full blog article, go to this person's site. And, a lot of people will know whether or not their site has been linked to on another WordPress site, and they'll appreciate it, but they'll also appreciate the fact that you didn't take their content. Okay, and another question from Judy. She says, what impact will it have if we are copying content from a site that is ours, but we will be deleting that site when this one is complete? Just think of it as future planning. When you take content that's already yours, but it's already indexed, it's not going to stay indexed because you're going to be deleting the other site. I wouldn't say that your site that you're building with us, that you're moving the content to, is going to index that right away. But over time it will, because the other one will no longer be listed after a certain period of time when it comes to search engines, because the link will be broken. And then it will start seeing that your other content that you're displaying on the news site is available, and will start indexing it instead. Okay, and Sharon had a question about video. She wanted to know if there was a way to customize the size of the video on the page, just like photos. Unfortunately, there isn't a current way to edit that. I do know that if you use embed code from YouTube, then you're able to directly say what size you want that image to be. So let's just go to a YouTube video real quick. So if we're going to the Gravity Forms webinar from last week, let's go ahead and pause it because I'm already talking. We don't need to hear me twice. You can see that there's an area here that says Share, Embed. The embed code allows you to, change the size. However, when it comes to putting video inside of any of your blog posts or pages, we recommend doing it the clean way, which is to just copy the URL, because WordPress knows whether or not this is a YouTube video or not. So this is how video would automatically be displayed on your website. Now what we've done is we've made it to where, it won't go outside of the boundaries, so that it will overlap on a sidebar or things like that. But there currently isn't a way for you to really customize the size of the video that's being displayed. I hope that answers your question, Sharon. I'm sorry about that. Regarding your other question, I will reach out and talk to you about it personally, okay? All right. So if that is the end of the questions, I'm going to go ahead and run through my ending sequence here. If you ever have a question, feel free to reach out to me by email. My email address is Tracy, Tracy, at brandco.com. And you can also schedule a time with me so that we can speak over the phone about any of the questions that you have. You can do so by going to calendly.com, pico_Tracy, and you can schedule a time there that best fits both of our availabilities. And it works out really awesome. You can say what time zone you're in, so that you can see what days and times are available that work around your schedule as well as mine. Also, if you ever want to watch a whole bunch of videos, we've got them for you. So if you ever get a chance to go to YouTube and check out Hello Brand Co., you're going to see that there's a lot of recorded webinars, just like today's will be uploaded as well. We record every single webinar, so if there's a week where you can't attend, don't worry. It's going to be recorded. If there's nobody in the webinar, I'm still going to go through it, and it's still going to be recorded, and it's still going to be uploaded here to YouTube. Okay? I promise. If you have any questions about any of the things within your Piggyback blog, it's most likely got a tutorial video instead of our YouTube channel that is dedicated to it. If not, please let me know so I can create this so that it's an asset for you and all of our other clients to be able to utilize. Other than that, I'm always available. Please let me know if you need me, and I'll see you again for the next week's webinar. I will be conducting it probably on nothing but SEO. So we're going to be exploring in detail this SEO Yoast plugin down here at the bottom, and how you can increase the SEO value of your blog posts through it and its additional features. So that's what I'm going to be covering next week, and I hope to see you in our webinar again then. All right, thanks guys for coming.